On behalf of TV Tacoma and the League of Women Voters of Tacoma-Pierce County, welcome. I'm Liz Kernitz-Thurlow, and I am moderating this forum for Tacoma City Council District 2. We have 5 council districts, each represented by a council member, and residents of those districts vote for them. We also have 3 at-large seats, one of which is up for election this year, plus a mayor, who are elected by all Tacoma voters. So residents of District 2 are eligible to vote in this election. Thanks to the candidates, Sarah Rumbaugh and Kelly Blucher, for being here, and to TV Tacoma for presenting these forums. The candidates have agreed to our ground rules, which state, among other things, that they will not discuss each other in their answers. And do you both agree?
Yes.
Yes.
The general election is Tuesday, November 2nd. If you are not yet a registered voter, you may register at the auditor's office through Election Day. Candidates will have up to 2 minutes for opening statements, various times for questions, and 1 minute for closing statements. Our timekeeper is Susan Eidenschink. She will show you cards when you have 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and when it is time to stop, at which time you may finish a short sentence. We only have a half an hour, so please answer as succinctly as you can. In ballot order, Sarah Rumbaugh will give the first opening statement. After that, the order will rotate. Sarah Rumbaugh.
Well, thank you for having me here today. My name is Sarah Rumbaugh. I'm running for District 2 position for City Council. And I chose to run because I care about my community. I've been involved in nonprofit work here in Tacoma. And also I have a city planning background. I've raised 2 daughters here, and I believe that Tacoma needs strong leaders. I'm someone who brings collaboration to anything that I do, and I believe that that's what we need right now on our city council. We have some large issues to tackle, and they're issues that have been here for a long time, but I think they've become exacerbated during the pandemic. Those issues are affordable housing, homelessness, and the environment. I care about affordable housing in the sense that right now we're having people experience displacement where they're being priced out of their homes and they're having to make decisions about where they're going to move, whether or not they're going to be able to stay here in Tacoma. I want to be a part of that solution. As far as homelessness goes, I serve as president of the Associated Ministries Board, and I believe that everyone needs a door. And we are doing really great work here in our county to solve homelessness. But I believe that we also need to be looking at more transitional and permanent housing, more tiny homes, purchasing hotels and motels. We need to make that a priority. And as far as the environment goes, I believe that we need to become a fossil fuel free port, meaning that at some point we need to move to clean energy. And it's something that I've been championing. So thank you so much again for this opportunity. I look forward to your questions, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Kelly Blucher, your opening statement, please.
Hi, I just want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters and, of course, TV Tacoma for having us here today and having a chance to talk a little bit about myself. So my name is Kelly Blucher. I'm also a candidate for District 2. And, you know, I am absolutely a proven advocate in our community. And I say this repeatedly, and it's so important, but having experienced many of the issues that we work to solve, such as homelessness, addiction, criminal justice system, obtaining a livable wage job, childcare costs that really propel so many of us off a benefit cliff to the point where we can't obtain affordable housing. I've advocated at local, state, and federal levels, representing those that often have no voice. And I've really seen the change that can happen with policy and law when we are represented. And I really believe it's time to bring that voice home the council. My strength is absolutely in collaboration and the ability to bring together organizations and business leaders. I also have a proven track record in that, having helped to develop the Pierce County Community Engagement Task Force, the Pierce County Coalition and Homelessness, the Equity Action Network, and really bringing together community voice and community organizations to solve those pressing issues. I know that on city council, I will be a strong and compelling voice on the council. I think we can find solutions to ending homelessness, addressing inequities, of course, economic stability and housing affordability, and of course, ensuring that climate and equity is a part of every single one of those conversations, as it should be. We must have a clean environment for our children to learn, work, and thrive, of course. And my favorite saying I love to end with is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and it's time that families like mine and yours are absolutely at the table. Thank you.
Thank you both. Kelly Blucher will answer the first question first. So whenever you've answered second, you answer first the next time. What is the most pressing need in Tacoma, and how do you plan to attack or address it? And you have 60 seconds, and I'm going to warn you now that the second question is going to be about the most pressing need in District 2. So first one, most pressing need in Tacoma. Kelly Blucher.
Well, I really think right now is something very visual. We're seeing a lot of tents and those experiencing homelessness on the streets of Tacoma. We're seeing that also move into many areas where we haven't seen that in Tacoma before. So I think it's very important that we tackle that issue with all that we can. And I think that's bringing forth more city and utility owned sites to address things such as low barrier shelters, and giving people that access to move away from a tent and into a shelter. I certainly think we need to bring together more of our coalitions and committees to really tackle that. We have so many bright, amazing people on these committees and coalitions that are setting forth ideas, and a lot of times they're not heard. So I think it's so important that we're listening to the solutions of our community and certainly bringing forth change. And by all means, I think everybody deserves a safe place to sleep overnight. And long term, and I think we need to address that and give people that dignity.
Thank you. Sarah Rumble.
I believe that the most pressing issue in Tacoma right now is housing. I believe we just do not have enough housing, and we're seeing people priced out of the market. That's why we have a supply and demand issue right now, where there's just not enough supply. And that's why houses are going for high prices. It's happening all over the nation, but we are seeing it on this microcosm level here in Tacoma, where people because they can't find housing, it's affecting people who are in programs like Rapid Rehousing, which is a program through Associated Ministries that gets families that are homeless housed. Because of that, we can't use the vouchers because the person can rent to someone else who doesn't have as many barriers. So even in places where we are able, we have the resources to get people housing, we're not able to house them because we have a shortage of housing. So I think that's the number one thing we need to do, is make sure we create more housing in the city of Tacoma.
Thank you. Okay, another 60-second question, and Sarah Rumbo's first. What is the most pressing need in District 2, and how do you plan to address that?
Well, it's so exciting to get to talk about District 2 because it's such a great area. I think one of the biggest issues in District 2 is supporting our small businesses. We have lots of small neighborhoods, and I believe because of the homeless crisis, they're being impacted, these businesses, and we need to find ways to support small business. I know that through ARPA funds, which are from the federal government, we've had funds available for grants, but right now, they're not able to find employees to fill jobs. They need help with cleanup. We've had businesses that have had their buildings tagged, the windows broken. I have heard from several small business owners that they're trying to decide why they're staying here in Tacoma. And I think that as a city, we need to make them a priority, especially in District 2, because that includes the downtown area and several other small business districts like Stadium, Old Town, and the North Slope businesses on 26th. So I would like to say that the number one issue is supporting small business.
Thank you. Kelly Blitcher.
I absolutely agree with Sarah on this. I think supporting our small businesses is really key within our downtown area, our Proctor district, and so on, our stadium district. I think transportation is going to play a key role in that, walkability and the availability to get down to our small businesses, and certainly understanding like the ARPA funds have done a lot can do a lot too to help our small businesses. And I think programs such as the meal kitchen was really instrumental in providing opportunities to some of our restaurants around here. And I think that was a great program to also help address food inequities in our city. But yeah, I think support of our small businesses is very important, and making sure that we have transportation and parking availability and so on to be able to go to those areas.
Thank you. As you both know and have said, homelessness continues to be a huge issue. How will you help Tacoma build more housing, find housing solutions for homeless people, get all people, students, elderly, mentally ill, just plain out of luck, the help, services, and protection they need? And please try to include your views of home in Tacoma. And you have 90 seconds in which to do this, which I know is not enough. Kelly Blitcher.
Well, that is very much a multifaceted question there. And I'm trying to think of the best well-rounded way to answer this. So I think home in Tacoma is a start. You know, when we talk about home in Tacoma, we talk about market rate housing and quote unquote affordable housing. And I'm almost positive that I'll address the quote unquote affordable at some other question during this forum. But I think ending homelessness we need to provide public housing. We need permanent supportive housing, and certainly utilization of our rapid rehousing programs. And, you know, that does mean creating more, it means more shelter. It means possibly using things like the tiny home villages to help to stabilize individuals. But I don't think home in Tacoma is necessarily our answer to addressing the homelessness crisis, as many people experiencing homelessness are on fixed incomes, maybe receiving SSI and SSDI, and market rate housing oftentimes does not fall into those income brackets. So I think we need to do a lot of things as far as addressing and bringing forth public housing. Did I miss a part of that question? Again, that was, health services. Absolutely. Now, and I've said this a lot as well, I think we have hundreds of nonprofit organizations and medical organizations within Tacoma, and we all do one or two things like really, really well. I think a lot of that is going to be bringing those organizations together to address many of those, health inequities, housing inequities, wraparound services, and so on. And really that's creating coalitions and whatnot, like I have done, to bring us together to address those.
Thank you. Sarah Rumbaugh.
Could you say the question again? Because it was a really long one.
Okay. Homelessness continues to be a huge issue. How will you help Tacoma build more housing, find housing solutions for the homeless, get all people, students, elderly, mentally ill, etc., the help, services, and protection they need?
Okay, so I think what Kelly has said is such great stuff. I'm going to say that I want to take home in Tacoma out of this puzzle of homelessness. And I believe home in Tacoma just is to create housing. I think we need more housing, and that will in some way help us on the other end keep people from being displaced. So that's one part of this whole puzzle of what we need to do as a city. I think the bigger issue is, what kind of city do you want to have? I mean, do you want to have a city where we take care of people and it's that we are seen as that people who live here are important to us and we care about them? And I think we are that kind of city. And so wanting to take care of the issue of homelessness, which I know the Ending Homelessness Coalition has been working on, they're doing a lot of good work, is really important. But at the same time, we have an opportunity right now to use ARPA funds to purchase housing, hotels, motels. This is, what we buy today, we will have in 10 years. I mean, I would behoove us as a community to make that a priority. Whatever you own, you actually have. And that is part of this, part of fixing all of this. It's going to take a lot of different things to create the housing, but purchasing housing that's already built, that's being used for a different use could be used to house people for permanent and supportive services, people who are homeless right now on the streets.
Thank you. Tacoma recently cleaned out a homeless camp on Yakima Avenue. Should we be doing that when there aren't places or services for everyone there to go? What is the right answer to this complicated question? 60 seconds, Sarah Rumbaugh.
So that gets into what kind of city you want to have. Do you want to have a city that cares about people? And I believe from the thousands of doors I have doorbelled that people in Tacoma do care. They're just frustrated because they see people on the streets and it appears that we're not doing anything. And I would say that that's the way they see it. And that we should not be cleaning up encampments if we don't have places for people to be. But there will be a day where hopefully we have enough housing and beds for people so that we can be saying to people, you can't be here. And I think that that's the right thing because I don't want people living on the street. It's not humane. They don't have, that's not a good place to live. It doesn't provide them the services they need. And I'm someone who believes strongly that everyone deserves a door. So we need to find people those places to live. And that should be a priority of our city.
Thank you. Kelly Blucher.
Yeah, it's really interesting. On the day that camp was cleaned out, we simultaneously held the job fair Ending Homelessness One Job at a Time, which is Hire 253 in collaboration with Project Homeless Connect in Tacoma. And many of our unhoused neighbors that were in that camp joined us that day to tell us their stories. And it was heartbreaking to hear. Many of them didn't have a way to transport any of their materials. Maybe they had not been able to get into another shelter for whatever reason or another. And several of them were going to migrate down to the A Street, I think it's 25th and A Street encampment. And I also had an opportunity to visit that. You know, we have got to have not only shelter, but different housing options for people. Shelter doesn't work for everybody. The tiny house village on 6th and Orchard has roughly a 30% success rate. So I think having more availability of like tiny home villages where you're giving people the dignity to have something that's their own to move forth with stability. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the climate crisis. How can and should Tacoma help combat climate change? What will you do? How? If you can, include how we should be working with the Port of Tacoma on this. And let's try for a minute. Kelly Butcher.
Yeah, certainly. Let me make sure that I got that. I think it's so important that we are working closely with the Port of Tacoma as we are addressing things such as fossil fuel storage and transport in the port right now. And as we continue to grow our port to provide more storage to so many container ships out there, I think it's very important that we're in constant communication, not only with the port, but also with the Puyallup tribe to making sure that we are adhering to, many of the concerns that we have as far as climate is concerned. Other things that we can do to address that in collaboration with the port is, if you've driven down through the port lately, what you notice is a lot of idling trucks consistently. They don't have adequate places to sleep or to stop, to turn off their trucks while they're waiting. So I think we need to do something for sure about traffic flow and certainly working with the port in that. And that continues all the way through the I-5 corridor, which, I think at Tacoma, we joke, will that ever be finished? But I think, we really have to envision our future and how we're addressing traffic flow throughout the middle of our city. Thank you.
Sarah Rumbaugh.
Well, I support the non-interim tide flat regulations, which the council will be taking up this Tuesday. And as somebody who's impacted by the port daily, because I live in Northeast Tacoma, as do all of my neighbors, and it's the only way out of our neighborhood is to go through the port. Daily, I see the storage facilities for fossil fuels, and I just think to myself, why are we using our most expensive land in our county to store fossil fuels? And I think that we need to be thinking ahead, that we know that the Ford Motor Company, 150,000 people have pre-ordered the F-150, which is they're calling it the, can't remember what they're calling it, the Lightning. And they have just said they're opening new plants to build these electric trucks, and they are not seeing that they're going backwards to fossil fuels. So I think as a port, we should be thinking about the renewable future and green energy. I hear that Tacoma Public Utilities has had 5 different businesses contact them for hydrogen power being located in our port. And they've lost those abilities to talk about that because we don't have any policy set up yet or regulations. So I think I want to see us move forward in a different avenue than fossil fuels.
Thank you. Okay, Sarah Rumbaugh is first now. Racism. This connects to housing, policing, jobs, and everyday life. How do you think we're doing in dealing with it? And what do you propose to help improve and equalize conditions for all? Somewhere between 60 and 90 seconds, please.
Well, I'm glad that you have this question. I was serving on the Human Rights Commission, and I felt because I was running for office that it was a conflict of interest to stay on in a board that I was appointed to by city council members. This is something I really care about. And as a woman who is white and privileged, I realized that I have an opportunity to move conversations forward about this and make this issue more important with everybody. So one of the things I think is that we are full of a lot of racial tensions and things that have continued it's historic in our city. It starts with the redlining. Actually, it starts way back with the Chinese who lived here and other people who have been burned out of their city, out of our city, and told to leave. I am Jewish, and I haven't brought this up in any forums, but there is a lot of anti-Semitism in our city as well. And I believe that we need to change. There's a lot of systemic racism, and we need to make it a focus. We do have an Office of Race and Equity at the city, which is fabulous because we do a lot of training, provide training to different businesses so they can learn how to change the way that they do their hiring practices to change the makeup in their communities and their offices. But I think it needs to be county-wide. And when I was running for Pierce County Council, that was something I pushed. And I think that we need to continue to think about this, not just as our city, but the rest of our county and how we handle and tackle racism.
Thank you. Kelly Bleacher.
And can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. Racism connects to housing, policing, jobs, and everyday life. How do you think we're doing in dealing with it? And what do you propose to help improve and equalize conditions for all?
Well, I think we could do more. Certainly. I think, we really need to look at racism as a systems approach. Health, education, employment, housing, wealth building, and so on. And I think if we, continue to see this system failure over and over again, it's time to revamp the entire system. And I think we can do that, really utilizing the voice, again, of our communities, specifically those involved in our commissions. And I say this, we have so many commissions out there, and a lot of people on those commissions are saying that they don't feel like their voice is being heard. So it's very important that we're having more people, we're having people of color, we're having more representation from our community, not only on our committees, commissions, but also on our council, and in listening to that voice. I think, from a perspective of a white mother raising 2 Black children, this is an issue that's very important to me. It's very important to my family. And as they continue to go through school too, I want to see that the improvements are happening. In the North End area right now, we have predominantly white school districts. And I think we need to we need to talk more about diversity and have more cultural competency, and education opportunities held for our children, because truly our children are going to change the future. And I think that's where a lot of conversations also need to start, but certainly continuing with an open dialogue and having our community voice. Empower, empower, empower. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't really have time, but we're going to sneak in one last question. 1 minute. Kelly Blucher will answer it first. District 2 includes Northeast Tacoma. To clean up the air, we need fewer cars on the road. Public transportation in Northeast Tacoma is terrible, and almost nothing is walkable to. Can the city help to rectify this? Will you, and how? Very quickly, please.
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, one of the first places I experienced homelessness was in Northeast Tacoma, and I remember transportation being such an issue. It's also one of the places that I think I was ever the hungriest in my entire life. And a lot of that was because of the lack of transportation to be able to get to a grocery store, or even the availability of grocery stores in the area. So absolutely, I think we need to address this. I think as a council, we need to address this immediately as far as more stops, rapid transit system, something, but it needs to happen quickly. And we also see this with the kids going from Stadium High School in Northeast Tacoma. That's one of the things I'm hearing over there often too, is that commute can be over an hour for kids. So I think it's important that we are increasing transit services, and certainly, there's a lot of traffic down there too. And as Sarah said earlier, there's a lot of traffic through the port. There's a lot of traffic down 336 there as well. So I think, we have to figure out a way to increase traffic flow as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Rumbaugh.
So yes, I remember when we did have a bus here in Northeast Tacoma that actually ran more than once or twice a day. Right now, there's a bus 2 times a day from Northeast Tacoma. And basically it's set up so kids can take the bus to school, to get downtown, and then to get home. And that's it. So I don't necessarily, I support a 3/10 tax to 0.3% tax to increase Pierce Transit to be able to add more bus service. I just don't know if it's going to do anything for Northeast Tacoma. I think some solutions for Northeast Tacoma are to, first off, we're a pretty walkable city, but I want more sidewalks in Northeast Tacoma. That's something we don't have, is a connected sidewalk for everyone to walk around. But also, I want to start talking about some other way to get to downtown besides the car and bus. There should be a walking trail. There should be a way that you can get there by bike. And so I would like to see a trail at some point from Dash Point State Park all the way into downtown Tacoma. That would be a solution that would actually work for Northeast Tacoma. So.
Thank you. Now it's time for closing statements. You each have up to 1 minute, and Kelly Blucher will make the first statement.
Hi again. So thank you again for having us here today, and the ability to really talk and connect with our voters out there. I just like to let everybody know that I'm very open to emails and phone calls, and widely available to address any concerns. And I think that's really what I'm bringing to the city council, is 100% authenticity, transparency, and really the ability to work with community members, even many with opposing views, but really trying to find ways to compromise. Again, that is absolutely a gift. And I look forward to your support, and please check out kellyfortacoma.com and look at my platform. And again, very open to email and conversation, and appreciate all of the emails that I've had thus far with such great conversation with our voters, and looking forward to November. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sarah Rumbaugh.
So I want to thank the League of Women Voters and TV Tacoma for having me here today. And I want to say that you can tell what kind of person I am by looking at my list of endorsements. I have endorsements from the Washington Conservation Voters and the Master Builders Association, people who might be diabolically, opposite of each other. But I'm the kind of person that brings people together to talk and find solutions to the issues that are pressing here in our city. And we have some big issues that we have to take care of, and we're not going to solve them by demonizing and not working together. I am the kind of person that will bring leadership to the city council, and I believe that I have the skill set to do this job. I also know that the issues that are important to my district resonate with them. What I'm talking about resonates with people in my district. I've been to thousands of doors. I've heard from lots of people, and I really would like to represent you today on our City of Tacoma Council and help make permanent, change that will make it positive for us here in Tacoma.
Thank you both for participating, answering our questions, and caring about our city. The candidates for Tacoma City Council District 2 are Kelly Blucher and Sarah Rumbaugh. Election day is Tuesday, November 2nd. Please get your ballot in a drop box or postmarked by 8 p.m. that day. Thank you for watching. Now please vote.